My name is Ajam Washlin from the Communist Party, Marxist Kenya, and today I'll be delivering solidarity statements to the International Conference of Panafricanism from the heartland of anti-imperialist struggle in Kenya. So comrades, friends and revolutionary fighters, we send you greetings from the Communist Party, Marxist Kenya, and front lines of class struggle in Kenya, where the working class and the poor peasantry are rising against debt, dispossession, and imperialist domination. We speak as organizers, as targets of state repression, and as revolutionaries who have felt the weight of state batons, the cold floors of detention, and the steel of imperialist-backed counterinsurgency. Today we deliver a clear message. One can be a Pan-Africanist without being a revolutionary, but one cannot be a revolutionary without being a Pan-Africanist. And this phase of history defined by a deepening crisis of global capitalism, the resurgence of imperialist war, and the reawakening of African resistance, revolutionary Pan-Africanism is not a slogan, it's a necessity. Kenya is presented to the world as a stable investment destination, a model of African capitalism, but behind the glass towers of Nairobi lies a different truth. The working class in Kenya remains thin by design, stunted by deindustrialization, casualization, and the deliberate destruction of productive capacity under the IMF World Bank structural adjustment. Over 70% of our people are pushed into rural hinterland where they face usury, rent, in-kind rent, in labor, and landlordism, a brutal mix of pre-capitalist exploitation and neo-colonial plunder. Yet within this reality lies a decisive force. The poor peasantry, vast, enduring, and angry, is a physical reservoir of revolution. Without the peasantry, there is no revolution. With the alliance of peasantry and workers, no imperialist arm can hold. Class struggle is not a theory in Kenya. It unfolds daily. At the Mombasa waterfront dock, workers fight shipping monopolies. In the export processing zones, super exploited workers organize in secret. In the countryside, peasants resist land grabbing and displacement. These struggles are scattered, but they share a common thread: the fundamental contradiction between the masses and the system that exploits them. Our task is to unite them, give them direction, and transform spontaneous resistance into organized revolutionary force. The Kenyan trade union movement has a militant history, but today a layer of labor aristocrats, bureaucrats tied to the states and capital has captured the leadership. They speak the language of the workers but act in the interest of compromise. They negotiate retreat, not advance. We do not abandon the unions. We transform them from below. We build rank and file committees, we expose betrayal, and we organize persistently among the most oppressed sectors: port workers, EPZ laborers, and informal economy toilers. Revolutionaries are not forged in comfort. They are forged in struggle, and in Kenya today, that struggle is intensifying. In Kenya, CPMK has faced arrest, surveillance, physical attacks, and torture. Our chairperson, Moivu Kaluka, and General Secretary Buka Umole, among several cadres, have lived experiences of these attacks. We've had attacks on their homes, targeted assaults on their properties, and most recently, the abduction of Buka Umole, followed by torture, was a clear warning meant to silence. But repression does not silence. It exposes the nature of our state for what it truly is: an instrument of class rule, not a neutral arbitrator. Each arrest, each beating, each act of intimidation deepens political consciousness. Each attack widens the circle of resistance. Imperialism did not end with colonial flags, it merely changed form. In Kenya, we host foreign military installations presented as security cooperations that embed us deeper into global military architectures. The upcoming African France Summit in Nairobi is not a neutral diplomatic event. It is an arena for reorganizing influence, renewing dependency, and deepening military coordination between Paris and Nairobi. Across East Africa, ruling classes are integrated into a shared neocolonial security architecture. Intelligence is exchanged, repressive methods are copied, protest movements are met not only with domestic force but with coordinated regional counterinsurgency. Economically, Kenya's so-called industrial zones are warehouses of foreign goods, not engines of national development. Imperialism has deliberately stunted our industrialization, redirected accumulation into real estate and finance, and trapped peasants in cycles of debt and usury. Even capitalist development has been systematically blocked because a genuine independent national bourgeoisie would threaten imperialist control. We salute the revolutionary rupture in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. The masses, especially youth and patriotic sections of the military, have rejected the old order of foreign control. These are acts of national assertion against imperialism, but we also emphasize sovereignty without social transformation remains incomplete. Liberation without socialism remains fragile. Without revolutionary leadership rooted in working class and peasantry, new ruling strata may simply replace old ones. Imperialism, having suffered humiliation in the Sahel, is now reconsolidating in East Africa through summits, military deals, and intelligence sharing. Our task is to learn from Sahel, defend its advances, but surpass them through higher levels of class struggle. Comrades, we speak plainly. We are living through a generalized imperialist confrontation, a developing third World War. In Palestine, a colonial settler project is sustained by direct military violence, with millions besieged and bombed while the world watches. In Ukraine, a proxy war driven by NATO and Western encirclements against Russia, where the working class on all sides bears the burden while capital profits. In Iran, sanctions, covert operation, and military threats form a prolonged strategy of destabilization. In East Asia, the South China Sea and Taiwan front are being militarized, and encirclements, naval deployments, and competing strategies claim sharpening superpower rivalries. Across Africa, from Sudan to the Sahel to the Horn of Africa, wars are prolonged by external interest and comprador regimes. Each conflict a thread in the same imperialist knot. Within the imperialist countries, much of the anti-war movements remain pacifist and moralistic, calling for peace without dismantling the system that produces war. Pacifism without revolutionary perspectives becomes a pressure valve, not a weapon. Imperialism cannot be formed or morally restrained. It must be defeated through organized struggle. Revolutionary Pan-Africanism is rooted in scientific socialism, class struggle, and anti-imperialism. It understands that the unity of African people must be forged through the mobilization of the working class, peasantry, and the oppressed groups. Under the leadership of a vanguard party, it seeks to dismantle neocolonial capitalist structures and build a socialist Africa where the economy serves the masses, not the imperialist and its comprador elites. Revolutionary Pan-Africanism organizations must expose and resist US militarism, especially AFRICOM, which enforces imperialism control under the guise of security. Mobilize the working class and peasantry against neoliberal policies, debt, and anti-people policies. Build ideological clarity. Countering myth of aid and partnership that reinforces dependency. Forge a united and anti-imperialist front across the Sahel, East Africa, and South Africa against military bases, drone operations, and foreign command structures. Develop alternative economic models, collective ownership, socialist planning to end the extraction of African wealth by multinational corporations and the comprador regimes. And we must build genuine solidarity with the anti-imperialist, not symbolic but materialist ideological and pragmatic. Return Pan-Africanism to its revolutionary roots: class struggle, anti-imperialism, and socialism. Comrades, the crisis of imperialism is global. The response must equally be global, conscious, and revolutionary. The recent popular uprising in Kenya, Sudan, Madagascar, Morocco, the patriotic initiative of the Alliance of Sahel States, the growing strikes and land struggles, these are not isolated events. These are new expression of Pan-Africanist affirmations. A people that oppresses another cannot be free, and a people that fights with organization, with ideology, with internationalist solidarity cannot be permanently defeated. The path forward is clear: return to Marxism, Leninism, center the working class and peasantry, build the revolutionary vanguard, and advance without hesitation towards a united socialist Africa. Long live revolutionary Pan-Africanism, long live proletarian internationalism, forward to our people's struggles. Thank you so much, comrades.